Hello and namaste, everyone. It's another session of Wellness Wednesday, and today's topic is another interesting topic where we are going to discuss more about children's health. And today, specifically, we are going to discuss about the 10 natural strategies to improve your child's focus and concentration. Concentration is like a muscle that needs to be developed. It requires regular exercise to strengthen. And you must have seen that while some kids can naturally concentrate more as compared to others, there are some children that really struggle when it comes to their focus, concentration, and they could be brilliant, they could be intelligent, but getting things done, sitting down, focusing, studying are not their best qualities. So we are going to discuss about what can be done today. We're also going to talk about ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in children. And it is something that can affect their ability to focus, it can affect their self confidence. It is a disorder where it is seen as in attention, where your child has trouble paying attention, is easily distracted. There is impulsivity, so there is no impulse control. The child is very impulsive, the child will act without thinking. And there is also hyperactivity, so certain things like fidgeting, a hard time sitting down doing any of the tasks, talking too much, interrupting in school, forgetfulness, being disorganized, distraction, making careless mistakes are all common signs that you are going to see with childhood ADHD. And it is extremely important that we discuss these topics and these factors. And one of the main things that I have seen is food is a key aspect that can help you with concentration, or that can totally distract you, right? And that's exactly what we are going to discuss today. So we will start by discussing 5 foods to avoid, especially in children, that are going to disrupt your child's focus and concentration. And these are some foods that I have seen in my practice quite often, which will lead to all the symptoms that we have been talking about, right? So if you have a child that's struggling with focus, that's struggling with concentration, the number one food to absolutely avoid are artificial food colors. So any artificial food colors, especially if you're looking at red 40, if you are looking at yellow 5, they have been studied and they have been associated with hyperactivity, they have been associated with attention difficulties as well as behavioral changes in children. And there is the European Food Safety Authority that has also made sure that there are coloring or labels required in the European Union. Often you will see children get, they turn into a completely different child after consumption of candies or sodas or brightly colored cereals. So a lot of your cereals, a lot of your candy, can be brightly colored, especially with the yellow dye or the red dye, and that is going to disrupt your child's focus and concentration. Not just candies, but certain juice boxes will have artificial coloring, certain wraps will have artificial coloring, certain foods marketed as healthier versions or smart foods are going to have a lot of food coloring, and they are not really smart, and they are going to work against your child's focus as well as concentration. So if you have a child that's struggling with focus, that's struggling with concentration, that's struggling with hyperactivity, number one thing to take out of their diet is any kind of food colorings. Also, there are certain vitamin supplements, especially in the form of gummies, that can have these artificial colorings. So you may be thinking that, oh, I'm doing my child a favor by helping the child, take all the vitamins. I'm doing something good for my child. But in fact, the color present in the gummies is going to be deterring them from focusing and concentrating, and that is going to add on to any of those behaviors that you don't want, right? Whether it's defiance, whether it's irritability, whether it's anger. I actually had a child come to my clinic who was so sensitive to the red dye that he would almost go into bouts of rage and anger when exposed to red dye. So whether it's the red velvet chocolate cake or any kind of colored gem like chocolates, I would definitely make sure you're cutting out all of these from your child's diet. The second one is refined sugar, right? So when we talk about sugar, any high sugar foods, any pop, any juices, cupcakes, any of the muffins that you think are healthy, they could have a ton of sugar. And in a child that is sensitive to sugar, it is going to rapidly increase the blood sugar and then create crashes. And this is going to directly impact cognitive function. This is going to directly impact attention as well as memory. And research has seen that excessive sugar consumption will create negative cognitive performance. It will reduce your mental clarity. It will reduce your focus. So, ideally, avoiding any sugary drinks in a child that's struggling with hyperactivity, in a child that's struggling with no focus or that has behavioral issues is super important. So whether we talk about pastries, candies, a lot of energy bars today, cereal bars, energy bars, granola bars can be high sugar. And again, they're marketed as healthy alternatives, healthy snacks, but they do have a ton of sugar. So always read the labels and make sure that your child is not exposed to high sugar foods and high sugar fruits. Also, carton based smoothies, right? If there are pre made smoothies, they have a ton of sugar added in them. And that is one of the reasons why you want to make sure that you are going to avoid um, you are going to completely avoid giving sugary drinks to your child. Now, the third one is refined flour products, right? So, white bread, white pasta, if the child is just eating pasta with nothing in it, or if it's just a toast in the morning. So, this is going to further lead to crashes when we are talking about refined foods, refined flour products. You see that there is no nutrition in it, there is no fiber in it, and that will directly create blood sugar spikes. And these have to be avoided as well. So, a lot of processed snacks, even a lot of fruit leathers that are commonly given to children that are going to directly impact the blood sugar. You have to be extremely careful with fruit leathers, because sometimes when the fruit roll ups and stuff are not made by yourself, they will have a lot of additives, preservatives, as well as colors. So that's something to keep in mind. um, the fourth one is a lot of trans fats, right? So chips, any kind of fast food, burgers, fries, processed snacks, highly processed oil. So when we heat oils at higher temperature, they turn into trans fats, and trans fats are going to affect brain function. They reduce the flow of blood as well as oxygen to the brain. And this has been studied that a diet in unhealthy fats will contribute to impaired brain function. It will contribute to poor memory. It will contribute to learning ability. um, if you are cooking in the air fryer, especially fatty meats that you fry in the air fryer, it is going to turn those fats rancid. So those are not healthy fats either, right? So do not cook or heat oils at higher temperature. You can use olive oil, you can use butter in smaller amounts, for cooking. And butter has butyrate. Clarified butter, which is the known as ghee in Ayurveda, is really good for brain tonic, which we are going to discuss shortly. But avoid these trans fats given to your food. And the last one is a lot of pop, so caffeinated beverages, right? So I have some kids, who are addicted to energy drinks, or certain even coffee at times. So in the teens they can be addicted to coffee or cappuccinos, or some kind of lattes which are commonly consumed. And they will cause jitteriness, they will increase the anxiety, they will impair the focus, and they are going to directly disrupt sleep patterns, and sleep is directly connected to cognitive performance. So if you are someone who has a child that's having like a lot of lattes or um, any of those iced coffees with like lots of cream on it, it's like a double whammy. Too much sugar, too much caffeine, everything added together is going to super overwhelm your nervous system. It's going to overstimulate it, and it's not going to be the best option for you. Similarly, energy drinks, right? And these are like a double whammy with caffeine as well as high sugar. So I would completely avoid this. If you have any questions, you can post it in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to answer. Now, I'm going to talk about 7 brain boosting foods that you should add to your child's diet to improve focus concentration. Number one is ghee or clarified butter. Ghee is a super food when it comes to Ayurveda. Ghee is a fat that contains saturated fatty acids, which are good for the brain. It contains butyrate, that's really good for healing all the cells, especially the linings, and that's also going to support your brain. So adding a teaspoon of ghee, you can use it in place of butter. You can saute your veggies in it. You can, maybe even cook eggs in your ghee. uh, Add it to your oatmeal. So there are so many different options to use ghee, but ghee is the best fat when it comes to different saturated fats. So number one thing to add to your child's diet is ghee, especially if your child is struggling with any focus, any concentration, any cognitive troubles. And making sure you have at least 2 to 3 teaspoons of ghee in your daily diet. Again, this would depend on the child's age and digestibility as well. But adding ghee in the form of cooking, or cooking with ghee, or adding topping it up with your food with ghee, is a really good strategy for better focus and better concentration. The second one is fatty fish, right? So fish has good amounts of omega 3 fats, and fish is also a better digestible protein. Omega 3s, especially EPA, DHA in fatty fish like salmon, sardines, are connected with cognitive function, improved cognitive function. I come from a fish eating community, and there was this comment made, as a child, that, oh, you're intelligent because you eat so much fish, and fish was a part of my staple diet growing up. So fish is a better quality protein. If you are having, children who are constantly eating any kind of meat or poultry, replacing at least 2 meals with fish, especially like sardines, mackerel, salmon, fattier fish, is going to be beneficial for the brain development, for the eye development as well. Third one are eggs. So eggs are high in choline, which supports the production of acetylcholine, that is a neurotransmitter involved in memory as well as learning. So scrambled eggs, boiled eggs can be a better breakfast than cereal, right? So cereal, if your child eats cereal and is running to school in the morning, or just having a plain toast and is running to school in the morning, that is not going to support their focus and concentration. That is going to create dips in the blood sugar, and eventually it's going to create two energy related crashes and lose the focus and concentration. So scrambled eggs, boiled eggs are a better breakfast for your child than any of the sugary laden cereals. Number five are berries. So blueberries, strawberries, amla berries, any kind of berries, gooseberries, sea buckthorn berries. So whatever berries your children are fond of, they are packed with antioxidants. They are packed with flavonoids. They're packed with vitamin C. So children who consumed flavonoid rich berries had better attention, better cognitive function, which was a study done in nutritional neuroscience. So making sure that, rather than snacking on grapes all the time or having bananas all the time, berries are one of the best fruits your child can get in his or her diet. Now, number six is nuts and seeds. So walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds, you know, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds have good amount of zinc as well. So they are rich in vitamin E, they are rich in healthy fats, and especially walnuts, which look like mini brains, flaxseed, chia seeds, which are rich in omega 3s, or pumpkin seeds, which are rich in zinc, are going to give you the perfect nutrient profile required for cognitive function. They are also rich in magnesium, which helps relaxation. So making sure you add nuts and seeds as a snack rather than granola bars. You could make your own trail mixes with this nut seeds, and maybe you could chop a date or two, or a dried apricot or two, and mix it into your own homemade kind of nut granola or a seed granola. So that is a better option than going for any of those cereals, and these will also give you the crunch. Number 7 that I wanted to discuss is leafy greens. So leafy greens are one of the things that are missing the most from children's diet, whether we talk about spinach, kale, swiss chards, beet greens, collard greens. They have a lot of vitamins. They have lutein, they have folate, which is a B vitamin that helps protect brain cells. They also have antioxidants like vitamin K. They also have a ton of magnesium, right? So you could add spinach to any kind of foods, wraps. You could add spinach to eggs. You could make kale chips for the child to snack on. You could add greens to smoothies. Make sure you don't mix too many ingredients in a smoothie. Make sure you don't make cold smoothies, and these are going to be really beneficial in improving your child's focus as well as concentration. So we have covered the 7 main foods to include. Now, there are 3 crucial things you have to do to support focus and concentration in a child. Number one thing is remove distractions. We live in a completely distracted world. And if you have a child that is struggling with focus, concentration, make sure you're minimizing distractions as much as possible. You are making sure their desk is always clean when they are sitting down to study or play. You can make sure that there are no excess sounds going on, there is no music on the side going on while the child is trying to focus. Again, with diagnosed ADHD, there are different strategies required. So this is, I'm talking about general topics. So making sure you remove those distractions. I have seen kids where they will sit in front of the TV and do homework, and that is not a distraction free environment. You are not going to be able to focus on your study. You are not going to be able to focus or concentrate on anything if there is TV going on. So making sure the number one thing is remove all the distractions if you want a child that is able to focus as well as concentrate. The second one is physical activity is extremely important. Every time, every session that I talk about kids, I'm always going to stress on the importance of physical activity and physical movement. Often there can be a buildup of energy as well as restlessness if the child is sedentary and not playing. So making sure you either enroll them in some kind of sports. Swimming is a great sport, or some kind of play where they can burn that excess nervous energy, and they will be able to better focus as well as concentrate. And the third one is prioritizing quality sleep. So making sure that your child has a good amount of sleep. If there are any barriers to the sleep, so sometimes children have anxiety where they cannot sleep because of the anxiety, or there is something else going on, digestive related issues because of which sleep is not as great. So making sure that you are removing all those factors, you're prioritizing good quality sleep. You have to ensure that your child gets a minimum of 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night, and there have to be consistent sleep as well as wake times. You also have to make sure there is a calming bed routine, right? So make sure you can ask them about the things that went well in their day, or what are some things that they enjoy, something that's very calming, not talking about a lot of stressful topics, not watching TV, before bedtime, making sure they're off all gadgets, especially important in teens. Making sure they're off all gadgets for a minimum of 2 hours before bedtime, and creating a friendly environment where it is a dark, quiet place. So this is going to be super key. So now with these three changes, a balanced nutrition where you're removing all those foods that are going to impact the focus concentration, you're going to add the foods that are going to support focus concentration. You make sure your child is habituated to sitting down for shorter times, working on one thing, avoiding all the distractions, making sure there's regular exercise as well as a consistent sleep wake cycle, and you will have a child that has good amounts of focus as well as concentration. If you have any questions about today's session, feel free to put your comments below, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. The next session for next Wednesday, we are going to talk about 10 signs that indicate your child has hidden food sensitivities. And food sensitivities are super important when it comes to children health, because they could be weakening your body without your knowledge. So stay tuned for the next week's session. Thanks and have a fantastic day. Bye for now.